Hello. We're on Facebook and Instagram Live.
Hi. Another day of quarantine, and we're here to check in with the community, have a little conversation, keep each other company a little bit. That's the idea. And we have a question of the week.
It's so fun that we get to do this every week.
I know, it's so nice. It's actually just good to have a schedule at this point, you know, to have something I can look forward to with regularity.
Keep us accountable.
It's like so much has been turned on its head with everything that's happening in the world. And today that it's a snowy day makes it feel particularly like everything's just kind of shut down.
It's a wild world out there.
But I think that the potential in it is that people have a lot of beauty cooking up within themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe people are looking inside more and becoming more reflective. Or maybe they're taking time to learn about something. Like, case in point, the topic of the week.
Do you feel like you've been taking time to learn anything or reflect, or where do you feel like you're at?
I don't want to miss this opportunity of this moment in history that, you know, I want to be here for it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's hard because it's also just like the days are passing by and we're just walking around the house. I've been in this house for so long now.
Yeah.
But I also have to admit that, like, all of this alone time and all of this just cooped upness, where we don't have to go out into the world and perform as much as we normally do. Mm-hmm. When I say we, at least I'm speaking for myself.
There's a performance at Denver Children's Home.
Yeah. And so this is an opportunity, I think, is my point.
Well, welcome people on Facebook and Instagram. Share this with your friends. Invite your friends. This is our question of the week. Our theme this week is curiosity.
Yeah.
Feel free to comment below. We will respond. We'll answer your questions. Yeah. What is our question of the week, Shelsea Ochoa?
What is something that you want to learn more about?
And feel free to answer our question in the comments.
Yes, please.
So, what do you think? What's something you want to learn about?
Well, I want to learn more about how to harness the creative muse. That's something that's really important to me. And so it's not so much like, a lot of that isn't kind of textbook reading learning.
Yeah.
It's more reflective, and it takes a lot of kind of like alone time and like working through your creative process. And then talking to other people that have a muse and like do creative work of any kind, everybody has a very unique approach. So no one else has been able to really tell me like how to work on my muse. It really is something that I think it has to come from within.
So how do you learn more about your muse?
I think like any creative endeavor, it's like you learn by doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Society's really set up. Our society is kind of set up so that, like, you know, you go to school and you learn about a thing and you observe it for a long time and then you get to participate in society once you've got your degree.
Yeah.
But I think after we get out of that, like, education system, we all kind of learn that, like, most of the learning that we do in life is just through the process. And it's not so much by having an expert tell us what to do, but it's by us trying and failing and trying and failing.
Do you feel like you've had time to learn about your muse? Because I think one thing interesting from just having conversations. Also, hi Kian, thanks for joining. Say hi.
Hello.
I think we're receiving comments right now on Facebook. We're using a phone, and we're not sure if they're popping up, or maybe people aren't saying anything yet. Maybe somebody test comments so we can figure out if we're getting them or not.
Great idea.
Or maybe I'll go on Facebook as well. So anyways, do you feel like you've had time?
So much time. I have nothing but time. I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but I have so much fucking time.
Do you feel like in that time, though, because it's interesting talking to people about it, like I've talked to creatives.
It's such a gift, yeah.
Or friends who create things, and just some of them are like, I can't do shit. Like, I can't create anything during this time. Yeah, like, I think there's like a weird mix. Like, for me, I have a routine. And so I feel like my routine has helped me stay on track for what I'm trying to do. But I think a lot of people like the pieces have been thrown in the air and they don't quite know where they're landing.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's fucked up about capitalism, is that like, for a lot of the most important work that happens in the world, like healing and arts and things like that, it's not something where you can measure the success of it incrementally in a paycheck. Like, one could work on a creative endeavor without having anything to show for it for like 3 years, and then one day they sit down behind the computer and they just bust it out and they write it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's the tricky thing, I think, about the creative process. It's also very different for different people. I think it's totally valid, though, to be like, I can't fucking do anything right now. You know, if people just need to do nothing and just take in the moment, because this is also like a very unnatural world that we're operating in, and it's, you know.
Yeah.
Self-care becomes very important when you don't have your community around you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird time, for sure.
Yeah. It's such a weird time.
And sorry, I'll be honest, I was like half zoned out for that because I love you so much.
This is
and
classic.
I hope you guys took some really insightful things from Shelsea.
This is what happens with Danny and Shelsea.
But
I'll be sitting right here all day. Danny will come in, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, I have 7,000 things I've been waiting to tell you. And he's like, I gotta go like chill out from my long, hard day's work. Thank you.
Oh, man. Well, I will tell you that I did figure out that we're not getting comments, but we are seeing comments on this. So now, thank you for testing, Greta. Hi, Ocean.
Oh, nice. That's
Hi,
good.
Ben.
Facebook comments.
Good.
So we're there. We're caught up. Thanks for joining. Aaron was like, could totally see on his face he wasn't engaged at all.
That's fine. That's exactly what I was talking about, though.
What? Tell us.
What I was exactly talking about was that sometimes you look like when you're doing a creative project, you need time to just zone out. You need time to just take it in.
Yeah, that's
and
why I
that's
zoned
what you're processing, I'm sure. Sometimes you just need to zone out.
Yeah.
And then maybe something beautiful will come from it later.
Yeah. Maybe I'll listen later.
Maybe, yeah.
Sam says hi. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome on Instagram and Facebook. What is our question of the week?
What is something that you would like to learn more about?
Yeah, what are things people want to learn more about? Let's see what some people said on Instagram.
Cool.
Somebody said art and motivation.
Art and motivation.
That's
That's kind of what we were just talking about, too.
What do you think about art and motivation?
Well, I mean,
that is kind of what we were talking about.
yeah. Basically, art is such a personal journey. When we first started, quarantining, I went through this process of writing 10 short stories over the course of 10 days. It was called the Decameron.
Yeah.
And there was a whole group of us. We all collectively produced 100 short stories in 10 days. And I felt like, for me, having something to have discipline about and like push myself through to produce something was like really motivating. Mm. But then for another person, that could just completely not work.
Yeah, it might derail them.
Yeah.
Having like a goal.
Like when you were doing your TED Talk,
what
was that like for you? Like, did you feel like you had to you got a lot of feedback. That's kind of your process, right?
Yeah, everything I do, I'm just constantly, if you're like around me at all throughout like anything I'm creating, I'm like, hey, so like, I know we're talking about this, but like, how
do you bring this to stories?
Yeah. Can you give me some feedback on this thing that I'm doing?
So true. The worst, but the best.
Sam says, I expect answers to all my questions. Greta says she thinks that she would study theology if she went back to school.
Yeah, I could see that for Greta, actually.
Really?
Greta carries a lot of wisdom. And is very, I think it would be like the right kind of person to study theology too, because I think she's the right amount of confident without being like she's the right amount of confident. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I feel like comparative, yeah.
The right kind of confident. I don't know. She's great.
It's interesting that when she said theology, that you went to wisdom.
Yes.
Why do you associate theology and wisdom?
Well, I think the idea within the texts, like the idea of theology, my understanding of it is you study ancient texts, but within those texts is wisdom. That's why they matter. Mm. And so,
like religious texts?
Yeah.
Okay.
And or the study of God, right? It could be even beyond a specific religion, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I do think that, just going back for a second to this like confidence and wisdom thing.
Okay.
I think that they actually do go together very well.
Confidence.
Genuine confidence and wisdom, I think, grow together.
Because I feel like when I'm confident, I let go of like little things.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to say the right thing. I don't need to like walk in a space and like be very concerned with like everything and everybody around me.
Yeah.
And it gives me a little more wisdom on, at least as I perceive wisdom, it gives me like a bigger picture view on the situation. Yeah,
exactly. Like I think wisdom will help you to grow in your like self-confidence because you believe in yourself, but also keep you humble.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of theology, I studied some comparative religions in college, mm-hmm. and those were my favorite classes.
Really?
Yeah, actually, there's a crazy story. I was taking this comparative religions class, and I was a conservative Catholic, and I went to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, no, I wasn't conservative. I was like a liberal Catholic, but I just associate those words so closely together now.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it was just like Freudian slip.
Yeah.
And I would go on these service trips.
You were an adamant Catholic.
Adamant,
You're an adamant Catholic.
An adamant liberal Catholic.
Yeah.
And then I took this class, and it challenged how the history of religion is the history of politics, and how like these governments were intertwined with religion for so many years, and how they used it and the abuses of it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's plenty of...
Oh, there's so much in that.
There's so much else that you can... I don't know. It's a big topic, but what that class did for me is I left Catholicism because of that class.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's huge.
It's like imagine being a teacher. And like,
oh my God.
You teach a subject and it has such a large impact on somebody's life.
Oh, stunning.
Isn't that cool?
Stunning.
Yeah. So if you're out there educating, like, you can change people's minds.
Yeah. And like nobody, I think that's like teaching is the best way to create sustainable change.
I think so.
You know, we can't like, this idea of like yelling at people or like, you know, like even like going out and punching a Nazi or something, like it's not like Nazis deserve to be punched.
And there's a time to fight.
It's not sustainable, but in an immediate sense.
In a short-term sense. Yeah.
Sometimes you need that. But as far as thinking about like how we can actually heal our society and even heal the perpetrators.
Yeah.
Teaching.
And that's why I think, bringing back to soul stories, I think that's why dialogue is so important.
Yeah.
Dialogue is a form of teaching.
Right.
In dialogue, like right now, me and you are teaching each other.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that this is an ongoing theme with this conversation around like what we want to learn about is like how much joy can there be in learning when it's shared?
Yeah, and you're like learning with each other.
Yeah, versus like a top-down model.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Let's talk more about people that have taught things to us, like teachers and stuff.
Let's go to the people first.
Okay, great.
Aaron says, like the motivation to create and how to keep/attain it. Yeah, I think keeping motivation to create is just as important as the motivation to do it in the first place.
Yeah, you have to find the balance between like rigor and allowing.
Yeah.
It's with the creative
especially.
It's not like you can like some people wake up every morning 8:00 just like a workout and do creative stuff.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get different outcomes every time.
Yeah, it's like you can't be... I think the rigor is important. You just can't be attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
You're not going to write the next great American novel every day.
Yeah.
And then Aaron also says, or what about establishing a motivation for the art that you're putting into the world? Oh, like a deeper purpose.
Yeah.
Like, why are you creating?
I think that's something that we all, again, have time for now.
That, Aaron, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is something I'm, like, hardcore working on.
Just, like, deeper purpose stuff?
I mean, the more you, like, get on these, like, social media channels and you're having to put your brand into the world, the more you can just get distracted by bullshit. Like, how good does my Instagram story look? How many likes am I getting? How am I marketing this?
Yeah.
And it, like, takes me away from the purpose of Soul Stories.
Yeah. But, yeah, my hope for you is that you'll always be, like, learning in it.
Yeah.
Which, like, you're always learning new stuff with Soul Stories.
Well, you push me to learn.
Yeah, God. It's been such a crazy journey.
Yeah.
What is it, 6 years now? Soul Stories?
Yeah, 6, technically 5 active.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Long fucking time.
This beautiful thing that you put hours into and when nobody's listening and nobody's watching is still alive today because you've taken such good care of it.
And now we have people watching right now, and that's nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Greta says, LOL, thanks. I think that was to your compliment.
This is all such lag time.
I know, we get so carried away. Aaron says, look at you with the personal relationship to the live streamers, getting compliments and ish. Wait, sorry, was it comparative religions? Yeah, comparative religions.
Did somebody say, was it, oh, they asked you that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Religion, yeah, comparative, no, it was comparative studies, because comparative studies is a big umbrella, and comparative religions is within that.
You're looking at me like I can help you figure this out. I'm just going to keep nodding.
I went to college 7 years ago. Okay. Sam says, same. Also, Sam, I don't have your document, your Word document. Don't kill me. We were talking about this at work. I don't know where to find it. Can you comment and let me know where you put it again? Side note, your host doesn't know what he's doing. Ocean says, if all religions are so different, why are they so similar? One God, man's fall from grace, monumental natural events, etc. I love
Wait, read that all again.
I love it.
One God, man's fall from grace. Recap.
One God, man's fall from grace, monumental natural events, etc.
Yeah.
I love...
Floods are very universal.
Etc. next to monumental natural events.
Yes. Catastrophe, etc.
Etc.
But what do you think about that? I mean, I think that there is... This is my personal opinion. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. Yeah. But I read this amazing book, and I'll bring it over here.
The thing is, she is an expert on what she's about to bring out.
Well, okay. I have a book.
That's what makes you an expert, I think. If you write the book, then you're the expert.
This guy knows what he's doing. Knows what he's talking about.
Is his name Manly?
Yeah, Manly P. Hall.
Ooh.
The Secret Teachings of All Ages. I was raised with this book. This is like the Bible of my childhood. My mom used to always read this to me. Mm. And it has all kinds of like druidic stuff and mysticism. But really what it really gets at is this theme that Ocean's talking about.
Okay.
Like, the symbolism within these stories makes it really seem like those are not literal stories, in my opinion. I don't want to offend anybody, but like I think that
like our audience, I don't know. I mean I don't know my audience. Yeah, who knows?
This is just my opinion, but like just as we see with like traditions around Christmas, we have the story of like Santa Claus, right?
Yeah.
And really that comes back to like a cultural story that's been carried down from like the North, and like there's all this symbolism within it. And I think that like as we tell stories and share experiences with each other, like there's archetypes that come up. You know, like the old crone and like this like person who's kind of ugly and also like carries wisdom, but they're kind of like not like pure, you know? Or like, I mean like the Jesus figure I think is like a universal character.
Yeah.
That can teach people a lot.
It's like...
But I'm not saying it's literally true.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about the Jesus figure is like when there's a Jesus figure in the movie, they're like, oh, that's like, a Jesus figure, But I don't necessarily think that that figure wouldn't exist without Jesus.
Right. That's just like...
Jesus just happens to be the most popular one.
Right. This is like the guy who's like, hey, everybody, let's get along.
Yeah. And sacrifices himself for the betterment of the world.
Right.
Know, like Aang in Avatar. I don't know. Would you say Aang? Could Aang be a Jesus figure?
Many thousands of years after he lived, maybe, if people didn't know the whole story.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think that's also like the beauty of today is that we have the internet and we can share different stories and new stories. Like we don't just need a story where there's like this one man who was a perfect person and then he just killed himself for all of us. Yeah. Like, cool.
Right.
Great creation story. You ever heard of creation? You know how things are created, world? Okay, anyway.
All right, we're going to go on we're going to go on a
religious tangent, sorry.
On a Shelsea religious tangent. Elena is in place for Ocean. So that's
excellent.
Ben says, I want to study male brains. What changes happen in the brain when you compare the male brain 10 seconds before he ejaculates to 10 seconds after.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Like the child molesting priest whose mindset goes from sinner to saint, the cheating husband that regrets cheating right after he finishes. Could the answers prevent children from becoming victims? Whoa.
This is a study of shame and sexuality, it sounds like.
You think so? Well, also the study of impulse.
Yeah.
Like is the person that, I mean, obviously everybody has control over their choices, but like
what's happening in their brain chemically?
Like at that moment that makes that choice. Mm-hmm.
Like, are some people genetically, like, they've inherited the ability to think twice before they do something?
No, the way I would interpret it is like maybe these people weren't nurtured well. Right?
Yeah, a lot of it has got to be environmental, right?
Environmental, nurtured well, maybe genetics, but then like something goes off in their so they don't exactly have the self-control they need to be a great member of society. Like obviously they could choose not to molest a child, but like I think this is speaking to like what is the that
moment
seconds.
of impulse.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
Today,
maybe we're off right now, Ben. Maybe you guys are misinterpreting.
We don't know.
Yeah, we're just kind of spitballing. So feel free to chime in and.
But I will speak to impulse on a personal note because today I wanted a cigarette.
Oh yeah.
I'm addicted to cigarettes. I do not smoke them, but I do want them.
And this is our Facebook intervention.
Yeah.
And Instagram intervention.
Cigarettes are bad. Yeah. But sometimes I want them.
For Shelsea. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, personally.
Yeah.
And so I was just really thankful to have like many steps in between myself and actually getting the cigarette.
It's good to have that.
Yeah. That buffer time, because I was like, okay, if I really wanted cigarettes right now, I have to put on my shoes, get in the car, get down there, make it all happen.
Yeah.
And
it's important
just not having it in the house is good.
It's important to have that like kind of structure around it in a way.
Yeah.
Like I can say to myself all day, I'm addicted to like snacking, I feel like. And
yeah.
I mean, not like an addiction, but like it's a bad habit of mine.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I could say all day, like, I'm not going to eat pretzels when I get home.
Then you come home and eat pretzels?
But today I was getting ready to work out, and then I opened the cabinet and I saw pretzels in my whole brain.
Daddy's got a real thing with pretzels.
And I ruptured, and I took a handful of pretzels, and I was like, I'm about to work out. And I still worked out, but it was like, why did I take that handful of pretzels?
Because you like pretzels, man.
Yeah.
I think that's totally good and healthy.
Paula says, I love that you are talking about dialogue and teaching. Paulo Freire put dialogue at the center of his practice. Yeah, the pedagogy of the oppressed, which I believe is that book, is like a central core value to soul stories. So thanks for bringing it up. To me, the biggest challenge is showing up on the page, the stage, the studio, and just creating whatever I'm meant to create and let go of the outcome. Hey, Victoria is the creator of Soul Stories Live.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so Soul Stories Live is
yeah.
a full event that happens in Chicago. We have now met on email because this is called Soul Stories Live. We're going to change the name actually next week.
So we'll take out the title so you guys can have the title Soul Stories Live.
Yeah, and but it's cool because it's kind of like led to like a weird connection. Like,
yeah.
I kind of feel connected to Victoria.
Yeah.
Despite not knowing anything about her besides. Like,
it seems like the things they're doing, they look pretty freaking cool.
Oh, they look awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on their live stream on Sunday.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also kind of that feeling of like, okay, well, somebody else had the idea too, so we're not totally off base and crazy.
Yeah. Well, their Soul Stories Live is like The Moth.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's very storyteller based.
Uh-huh.
Which is cool that they're still doing storytelling events in COVID times.
Yeah.
Because I thought we would just kind of have to do talk shows until we got back in the space, but it's kind of inspiring.
There's been so many cool things coming up on the internet.
Yeah.
I was just watching that thing with Lady Speech and Ryan Fu, and I don't know who the other guy was. But it's just cool to see, like, life finding a way, as far as in that Jurassic Park quote that everybody says.
Yeah.
Like, we find some way to build community, even despite all of this.
Speaking of which, of finding ways to build community, holla at 8 p.m.
Oh, yeah. We should try to do that. What time is it?
7:26.
Perfect. We got time.
If you don't know about Holla at 8 p.m., Shelsea and Bryce, who's over here, started it, and you holla at 8 p.m. There are, which you...
It's ridiculous that that's even like a thing they are telling
What questions do you have?
Yeah, go outside and howl at 8 p.m. That's
group,
the whole thing.
The group is really funny because they'll be like, what time zone?
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
What are the common questions? What time zone?
Well, there's been all of these waves. At the beginning, everybody was like, wait a minute. 8 p.m., what do you mean, 8 p.m.? Did you realize that it's not 8 p.m. for everybody? A lot of people, like, talk to me like I never thought of time zones.
Yeah. They're like, did you think about this?
Yeah, like, excuse me, ma'am. There are time zones. I'm like, cool, go outside and howl at 8.
8 p.m. your time. Go out.
As if, like, if we're gonna break howling. It's ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. How did this even happen? I don't know.
So we're gonna holla at 8 p.m.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Did you say holla yeah?
I didn't mean to, but I'll embrace it.
Chelsea and Bryce were just interviewed on the BBC.
This is what happened when I was interviewed on the BBC. They were like, these Americans do this crazy American thing where they howl. In London,
Can you believe it?
we clap, but those Americans are howling. It was really great. They were very nice to us.
That's awesome.
But they also did that thing that everyone's been doing, which is in every interview I've done for this, a lot of the times people will say, this movement was started by Bryce Mayuro and his partner, Shelsea.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I'm like,
every time I see that makes me so mad.
Yeah, I don't like it.
That's so annoying. Why do they say partner?
Partner's cool. Like, if it was sometimes, that'd be fine.
I mean, it's better than, like, Bryce Mayuro and his ball and chain wife, you know?
Yeah,
it's like,
but, like, and his. I think
right.
that's the possessiveness of it.
And, like, that's not what you guys led with in the interviews, I'm sure. Like, you weren't,
right.
like, I'm Bryce's partner.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think for myself.
Yeah, and it's, like, a subtle thing. Like, I don't think that anyone who did that had any malintent.
Yeah.
And it just is this thing that they're reading off of a piece of paper for the most of the interviews that we've done.
Yeah.
But I did get a little jab in. So in the radio interview, I was like, excuse me, sir, it's actually Chelsea Ochoa and her sidekick. And I was like, very proud of that one. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Just a little jab.
Right back at Bryce.
I mean, it's so funny because it's like the whole possession of everything, like the whole possession of howling in general is silly.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, you're the ones who started howling
Yeah,
at 8
like
p.m.
the idea of speaking on behalf of 500,000 people that are all doing different things for different reasons.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of it, was that it doesn't belong to anyone.
No.
And people have their own meaning for it.
I think that's been the coolest part to watch.
Yeah.
Sam, we're a little bit behind on comments, but we go slow and we get to them. So, be patient with us, as you guys have been. Sam says,
I'm going to get some more water real quick.
what are you or we all... Oh, wow. Water already here. Chelsea...
I got it.
Oh.
I want my cup.
Bryce has 2 water bottles. Anyways.
I'm very particular about my drinking devices.
We're back to the listeners here. We've been a little tangential. Tangential?
Tranquil.
Champ gentle.
What are you or we all pretending not to know?
Was this a comment?
Yeah, this is one of Sam's questions that she wants.
Oh my god.
It's kind of like I see your question and I raise you this question.
What are we or I...
What are you or we all pretending not to know?
That is
it's like the elephant in the room
deep
question,
Yeah.
You want to answer it?
No, I just want to sit with it. There's no way I can answer it.
Let's meditate on it. Why don't we do
But I guess the most important thing is to ask myself that.
I think that is yeah.
Know when I'm putting on a fake face.
Or having like something in the back of your mind that you know is true and you're just navigating it.
Yeah.
Navigating around it.
Yeah. In your inner psyche, it's important to just keep it all clear and out there like that.
Yeah.
But you always got to ask yourself because that stuff will sneak up on you.
Yeah.
Such a good question.
Why don't we do the things we know we should be doing?
Why don't we do the things we know we should be doing? I think that there's like lots of levels of that. That's a really deep
Will you
one.
move up a little bit?
Yeah.
I want to get you in. Great.
Oh, I guess you can like look at the camera. I feel like I've been looking at you a lot. Okay. So.
I kind of feel like we're creatures of habits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like the neural pathways kind of thing. I don't know too much about it, but just like you create these habits, they create neural pathways. It becomes easy to keep repeating these cycles. So when you know what you should be doing, you choose what your brain wants to do what's easiest.
Yeah, and it's something to be like really self-care. Like you have to take so much care with yourself with that kind of stuff because I feel like for me, like if I should myself so hard, that can become unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make me more productive. To be like, I really shoulda, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's underneath me not?
Right.
It's not gonna, like, developing good habits for me is not gonna win by a play of dominance within myself.
I totally know what you mean. I'm always having like an internal like power battle with myself.
Yeah, it's like inside yourself you've got like this like person that you're trying to reason with because you're like, dude, you gotta fucking like grow up and take care of your shit or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean it's a lot like parenting. We start with parenting ourselves.
Yeah. Ocean says, how do we know what we don't know? And then Sam said, unbelievable. Gio says, I agree with those stories being symbolism. They're describing the inner world of subjective consciousness.
Gio knows a thing or two about this book right here.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't as cut and dry as stuff we see in the real world and require creativity to communicate.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Nice.
He totally gets that.
Well said.
Yeah.
Sam says, why are we here? Well, we're going to answer that today.
You came to the right place.
So,
these are such great questions. I love all of them. Let's just keep asking more questions.
I kind of want to do question of the week, why are we here? How would people respond to that? I think it could get funny.
I like that a lot.
I kind of want to do that.
Let's fucking do it.
Like, that is like, yeah, like, I feel like people would read that and be like, are they serious? Like,
yeah.
I would.
I've learned a lot from the Howling page about the art of the troll. And some people are really good at just making jokes on the internet. Like, it's amazing.
You gotta commit.
Yeah.
Ocean says, to increase surface area. That's why we're here.
Whoa. It's like we're like a coat hanger for the universe.
It's easy for someone named Ocean to say we're here.
Yeah.
Bryce said it's easy for someone named Ocean to say increase surface area. It was better when he said it. I really spoiled that joke. I said that so like... You know?
Also, he's like right there. I think people can hear him.
I'm going back to my bubble.
Okay, you go into your bubble, baby.
Sam, okay. I'm going to come back to these questions. They're so intense. I feel like...
Yeah. I like these questions.
Yeah. Is there really a reason for everything? What would it feel like to have no emotions at all?
We gotta go one at a time, Daddy.
I know,
You're
but
overwhelming me.
We're at 9.
Okay, keep going.
Victoria says, we'll come back to you, Sam. We'll scroll up. Victoria says, hey, super excited to meet you guys, and what an amazing synchronicity.
Nice.
Oh, that's sweet. Greta says, lady speech, what she's up to.
She's so cool.
What she up to. Does anybody know what she's up to? Bryce, do you know what she's up to?
Well, from what I saw on the internet,
Being wise
earlier
on
today,
Facebook Live.
she's providing healing and support and conversations to people, like always.
She's being a fucking badass.
Yeah, providing healing and support.
I met that woman like 6 years ago. I'm so sure she has no idea who I am, but I've been fucking all about her ever since the day I met her.
She's one of those people, like, if you walk in a room, her energy is the room. Like, she
has so much presence.
She has so much presence. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Check out Lady Speech. On Instagram, she posts a bunch
We're just fangirling over Lady Speech.
Lady Speech!
She's the best.
She posts so much stuff on social media. Definitely recommend.
It speaks to what I was saying about Greta, this confidence and wisdom. You know? I think that, like, Lady Speech can take up a lot of space because she has enough wisdom to carry it through.
Yeah. I mean,
she can be so big and so confident because she's got the wisdom to back it.
I think it's her natural. Yeah, I think it's her natural energy.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any, like, faking or putting on a show.
Yeah. She's just got a lot of wisdom, and she's not shy about it.
Yeah.
That's good. As it should be.
Victoria says, virtual show online, hard to create authenticity in a 2D format, but also a cool challenge. The energy you guys are putting out is jumping off the screen. Love it.
Nah.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's a great way to put it. That's so nice.
Aaron says, I think they intend it to mean partner in the endeavor, but the fact that simply because Bryce has the penis between y'all two means his name always goes first is some malignant patriarchy at work.
Just a little silly nonsense with the patriarchy. Not our biggest fish to fry.
But
I'm
it's
calling
important.
It out. I'm calling it out.
Yeah, you should. I mean, it definitely pissed me off, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
all get there.
I think about that too, because I actually am conscious of that on these talks. Like,
yeah,
I lean in a lot, and you lean back a lot, and I think it's not because, like, and on the screen it looks...
I just don't like it when I lean forward and then my face is so big on the screen.
And I'm, like, just, like, anxious as fuck.
You're also, like, really into reading the comments, which I so appreciate that
Yeah.
you're on that.
It's interesting because, like, I look at that and I go, am I taking up too much space? But then...
Oh.
I know, I did.
I'm so big.
I swear I do. No, but, like, the leaning forward kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's nice of you to be considerate and share space.
I mean, I don't do anything about it. But
At least you think about it.
Yeah, but I definitely haven't thought. And Sam says, fair. It's one I ask myself often. Great. Well, we've caught up to the comments. So.
Go back to those deep, profound questions.
Yeah, we have to, like, explore
those.
the depths of our, like, psyche to get to the answers to these.
Why are we here?
Number 4, why do humans focus so much on the differences and diversity between us? Wouldn't this world
It's my favorite part.
be better if we focused on what connects us? Similarities?
No, fuck that.
You think
I'll
so?
fight you.
All right.
I love diversity.
Chelsea has challenged you to a fight.
Yeah, let's fight.
I wish we had, like, sound effects. Like, ding, ding, ding.
I got a red robe over here I could put on. Like boxing gloves kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm a terrible fighter. But I will say that diversity is the spice of life. I think that, like, Mama Universe up there is probably, like, that's probably what she's most proud of.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Diversity, yeah. I feel like maybe the reason this question is asked is because I think we tend to focus on why this person's different than me. And I think...
And not see the connectedness.
Yeah, and I think you can see diversity and find connectedness.
Yeah.
But we are often so in... And I'm not even talking about race, like I'm talking about, like, even in, like, a group of white people, like, you can, like, for me as a white male walking in a group of white people, I will find out what that white person, why they're different than me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their interests. Like, oh, is that, like, a bro-y guy that I don't want, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just, like, an interesting thing.
And measuring up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of evolution and stuff, but I do think that there's also that interconnectedness that, was it Sam?
Yeah.
Sam was speaking to, this interconnectedness, is also inherent. And I think that is something that people don't talk about a lot. For some reason, we talk so much about, like, dominance and competitiveness and all of this stuff that's, like, weeded out, like, species over evolutionary time. But the other thing within the human race is that, like, no one can survive alone in the wild. Like, maybe they can, like, okay, but, like, as a baby, you are at the whim of the community.
Yeah.
More than most animals. Because this is, tangential.
We're little blobbery we have no muscles.
Yeah, and that's necessary because we have such a huge brain for our body mass.
Oh.
And so in order to birth a child that has, like, is going to develop to have a good, like, brain mass, then we kind of made that sacrifice to have something that doesn't have a very good muscular mass.
Interesting.
And so we have, like, something that's going to grow into learning a lot, but it's very incapable when it's young. And everybody is very interdependent upon their community. You just have to remember it.
I just think it's, like, the American myth of, like, the woman or man who stands on their own 2 feet is, like, it's just so seductive to everybody, you know?
It's so sad and lonely.
I know.
But then you get all the credit, I guess, but who cares?
Yeah. Credit's so, like, for me, it's like, I want it, and then when I get it, I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel any different. You just get it.
The thing is, like, everything is connected.
Yeah.
Everything is connected. Nobody does anything on their own.
No. Nobody, yeah. I feel
no man is an island.
Every decision, every kind of thing, like, has an implication for somebody around you in, like, the minorest way. Unless you live in some, like, basement vacuum. I don't know, of course. You have to go I don't know. I think I'm overthinking it right now, but...
I mean, it's funny that we all come from the same fabric of the cosmos. Like, we're all kind of made of the same stuff. But then we became so diverse as a species that we start to see different people as, like, other.
Yeah.
You know? Which is also speaks to the coolness of our species.
Yeah, it's cool. But also, like, why is our amygdala so fucking...
Oh, Danny is...
It's the...
Danny's got a vendetta with the amygdala. He's always like, amygdala!
I think it's because I'm, like when I get, like, socially anxious about some, like, a new person coming into my house, why do I feel so much anxiety about meeting a new person? That's so dumb. Like, that's so dumb.
You're protecting your... I don't know. What?
I don't know. Like, at this point, like, it's not
you have to speak to your inner child and know that it's okay that they feel afraid.
Right. I get the therapy stuff.
All right.
I've been through that. I understand.
Yeah,
I'm just speaking to the biological, like, this person who's walking into my house who I already know about. I've heard of them.
Yeah.
They've been vetted by my friends.
Yeah.
They're trustworthy, by all accounts, to not kill me.
Right.
Why do I get anxious as if they were to hurt me? It's a weird phenomenon.
It's a weird phenomenon. The human brain is fascinating.
That's my daily amygdala rant.
Okay. You need one a day at least.
We're back. Let's see what people have been saying.
Is this normal? Do friends normally sit around and talk about amygdalas?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. If you guys talk about it, tell us. Brett's on.
Oh, good.
Hi, Brett.
Hi, Brett.
Say something
He
smart.
was talking to his family.
Brett, you know a lot of things. Why don't you tell us what you know? Yeah, what's the question of the week?
What is something you would like to learn more about?
Listeners on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you may be, somewhere in the ether. Somebody said ether. Is that how you say it? Ether?
I thought it was ether.
I thought it was either.
Either. It's either ether or ether.
That was good. Good one. Sam says, I'm a huge fan of diversity, but it concerns me when negativity comes from diversity. And then Ocean says, y'all seen that South Park episode, though? Sameness is boring.
I haven't seen that, but I do love South Park.
Yeah, explain what you're talking about.
Every once in a while, South Park is, like, very profound to me.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of the time, they're just like, dicks and shit.
It's,
Singing poop.
It's funny because I think they've, like, developed this kind of, like, thing where they're like, ooh, South Park's, like, stupid, but it's, like, really smart.
Yeah.
But, like, I think you're right. I think if you actually pay attention to it, it's mostly stupid.
It's mostly stupid.
And then it, like, says one thing and they're like, that's what they meant the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the joy of it. Mostly stupid.
The Kanye West fish dicks is my favorite episode.
I don't understand this reference. I know people talk about Kanye West and fish sticks or fish sticks. I don't know.
The fish sticks is an allegory about how self-serious Kanye West is. South Park just made fun of him for nothing.
Basically, they made up a way to make fun of him while he was at the height of his fame.
Uh-huh.
And he got upset because they were making fun of him, which was the point of the episode.
Oh, poor ego. Poor ego.
It's amazing. Great, yeah. What's our question of the week?
What is something you'd like to learn more about?
You know what? Me and Bryce were just talking about this. I want to learn more about jazz. I don't know much about jazz. I feel like you know something about jazz.
I just fucking love Erykah Badu. That's all I gotta say.
Interesting.
I've been listening to her all day, and she's so wise.
Does she sample a lot of jazz?
Mm-hmm.
Does she have a band, or is she, like...
When I saw her...
Like, does she have a band that makes music, or is she, like, writing over, like, sample and production?
I'm not aware of her creative process, but when I saw her live, it was a very tight band. That they were, like, on it. And there was a couple times where she was like, whoa, stop. We'll try that again.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
She just owns it like a queen. And, like, that's one of the only concerts I've ever been to by myself. And I was just enraptured.
Really?
Oh, it was so good.
Did you go by yourself because you're just such a huge fan of hers?
It was day of. I found out that she was playing at this place that is in front of the bay in San Diego. Humphreys by the Bay. And so behind the stage is, like, water and all these people riding around in canoes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. And I found out day of, and they were like...
Oh, that's amazing.
Talking about it on the radio, and I was like, oh my God, I have to go to this. And I, like, asked my two friends who were sitting next to me at work, do you guys want to go? And they were like, no. And I was like, I'm just buying a ticket. I'm going. And so I went by myself, but oh my God. You watch the sun go down behind the water. There's all these people out in canoes and stuff, and she just fills that huge space, thousands of people.
Wow.
With beautiful music.
God, that makes me miss concerts so much.
Yeah, like when are we going to be able to sit on a blanket with our friends?
Yeah. I know.
Ugh.
We've been, like, on these Facebook Lives, I feel like we've been really, and Instagram Lives, we've been really good about, like, keeping positive and, like, really, like, doing a lot of introspection. I'll be honest, this was the first week that it kind of hit me, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
What's been going on for you?
I just, like, I want to go get a drink.
Yeah.
On a Friday night. I want to go see my friends play music.
Yeah.
I want to see my friends, like, read poetry and, like, you know, and I want to make, like, dumb
painful.
jokes. You know, I've only been able to make dumb jokes to kids at work, my coworkers, and you people.
Yeah.
And
it sucks because, like, I feel like I can't lament about it too much because of my privilege.
right.
Like, my frustrations are not, like, any kind of fear or danger or anything like that. But it is just, I'm a social human being, and I really miss people.
And it's kind of like, you know, we've talked about this before, but it's like, I think people who make, like, $10 million a year, who are like, why can't they just lose that money, you know, and give it to people who need it?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like, when you have $10 million, you're not, like, super like, and this is a little bit different. I recognize this is different, but I'm gonna go for this comparison.
Okay, go in.
Feel free to judge me. I'm in it.
Okay.
All right. So you lose $1 million.
Uh-huh.
The loss of $1 million feels a lot bigger than the gain of $1 million.
Yeah.
And I think the same way for community. Like,
yeah,
we are and maybe just speaking to ourselves, we're community builders, community organizers. We're not special anyway, but we like value that. We spend many hours doing that. Our
entire lives and waking hours are structured around trying to create community.
And so what happens is we get a big community because we dedicate so much time to it. And then when we lose it, like, we actually still have a lot of good social connection around. It's just we're used to such a large...
We miss our friends.
We miss our friends. Oh, that was said so much simpler.
You don't know what you have till it's gone. Yeah, basically that.
Yeah.
But I do think that's so true about like the loss versus the gain can just like sting so much more.
Yeah.
Like with the Howled 8 stuff, we got all kinds of people saying all kinds of nice stuff, blah, 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 blah. But the one time somebody called me a fucking idiot, dumber than a bag of potatoes, sticking in my brain.
Yeah.
All the other nice things people have said, I'm like, I don't have time to listen to that right now.
I just
I'm not taking it in.
Have to focus on how I'm a bag of potatoes.
Yeah, I'm busy focusing on my bag of potato-ness. Thank you.
It's a great, if you think about it, it's a great insult because it's so simple and so like dumb, but
it's a great,
it's a great insult.
It's good, yeah. Dumber than a bag of potatoes.
It's not
expression.
Like, fuck you dumb bitch. Like, it's like,
yeah.
You know? It's
timeless.
It's
timeless. Timeless insult. Our great-grandparents were saying it, and your great-grandchildren could diss each other on Snapchat with it.
XM1A1X said, whoa, it's Friday. Weird. Wrong. It's Thursday.
Maybe you thought it was Friday. That's been me every day.
That just happened at work for me the other day.
What happened?
I just thought it was Tuesday, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any day right now.
Days of the week are meaningless.
Yeah. Every day when I go on to make a post of the Howled 8 things, every day I say, like, it is April 15th, day of the blah, blah, blah. But every day I'm like, it is what fucking something someday? I don't even know.
Right. Dates are just a social construct that we choose to believe in.
We must question everything in the age of Corona. This is our opportunity to turn our entire system on its head.
Start a revolution.
Start a revolution!
Viva la revolución! But seriously.
Yeah, we should really rethink some things.
Well, yeah. We know that.
Now's the time.
How to build a house, Ocean says.
Me too, Ocean. Sorry.
Bryce says, me too, if you didn't hear. I hope can you guys let us know if you hear Bryce?
Yeah.
Am I being heard? I'm like the guy over the fence in Tool Time.
Yeah. Wilson.
I'm the Wilson.
You're the Wilson. And
I hate that show.
Yeah, I fuck that guy.
I really hate that show.
I used to love that show.
I used to love it too. Yeah.
But then you go back and you're like, yeah.
He owns a house in Grand Lake, Colorado, and even on the tour, they're like, he's a douchebag.
That's
really?
the one thing I hear about Tim Allen is people say he's a douchebag.
Yeah, he's...
I kind of made his millions being a douchebag.
Yeah.
It's a family show.
But who am I to talk? What's his thing? Is like, does he like...
It's he's really family-like on that show. I've heard he's just a douchebag creatively, like in real life.
I have critiques of the show. We don't have to go into it.
We're going to be doing Facebook Live tomorrow where we critique 90s sitcoms.
I'll cry over 90s sitcoms. Oh my god. Tear them to pieces and burn them to the ground and use them for fertile soil to build new things.
Hot take, I love Friends.
You literally just looked at me like I was going to hit you. You're like, I love Friends.
Were you going to hit me?
No, fool. You can have your terrible opinions. Okay, Bryce said this earlier. I'm going to quote Bryce.
Yeah.
He said, I love the concept of Friends and the memory of Friends, but actually cannot stand the show.
Okay, I can't rewatch it. That's true.
But the memory of Friends.
Growing up with Friends was great.
Just let it be a memory.
Gio says jazz is fascinating. Victoria says, I want to learn more about how technology can connect us across the planet and how the arts / the Renaissance erupted after the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So this thing that we did called the Decameron it was inspired by this amazing man named Nick Trotter. And he has a circus group that I'm helped to be a part of called Circo de Nata. And the Decameron is actually another story that was written right in the time of the plague. There's a story within a story here. So within the story that was written at the time of the plague, the story is about a group of friends that go out.
Nick wrote this?
No, but I'll tell you how it inspired our thing later. Okay. So a group of friends go out into the countryside. The plague is going on and like all hell's broken loose. So they're like, get the fuck out of there. And they go to the countryside and they have everything that they need there and everything is great. And they're just like hanging out waiting for the end of the plague. And so they very much like what we are doing right now. Right. And so,
except the stakes feel lower than the plague.
Yeah, that's true. And so what they decide is that each day, one of the people will be like the king. And so if you're the king, you get people bringing you treats and all of these things. All day you get to be the king. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, you get to tell stories. And so within that story is a set of 10 short stories. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so Nick was inspired. So
every day, everybody is telling 10 different stories?
Every day in that thing, yeah. Okay. It's like an umbrella story where each chapter is a different person being a storyteller, telling a different story.
Oh, I see.
That's what the Decameron originally was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so Nick, flash forward 2020, whatever year it is, Nick was like, hey, I'm going to get 10 friends together. We're all going to write 10 short stories in 10 days and call it the Decameron in the name of the plague.
Oh, that's really cool.
And that whole thing, yeah.
Was it for fun, or did the things get collected? Are they going to be published, or?
They're on the internet. You can read them. Oh. I would go to circodenata.com, probably.
Yeah, that sounds... Yeah.
So if you just Google Circo de Nata, they're fucking amazing, dude.
That's a fair guess for our website.
My hero.
Circo de Nata.
Teach me your ways. Did that speak to the plague thing at all?
I didn't. I don't think it spoke to like how the Renaissance started after the plague.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that was a cool piece of art that came out of the plague.
Cool. Gio says historically and musically. And Greta says, in my opinion, New Orleans would be a good place to start learning more about jazz. I feel like I at least understand its origins now.
I saw this amazing documentary called Throw Down Your Heart. Can I talk about it? Or do you want to read more comments first?
Oh, no. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, this amazing documentary called, Throw Down Your Heart. Bella Fleck, from Bella Fleck and the Flecktones, is a famous...
I think I only know about Bella Fleck because of you.
Really?
Yeah.
Very famous and talented in that specific genre of music.
In jazz?
He plays the banjo. Or at least that's what the story is about it. Probably plays a lot of instruments. But I've seen him at the High Sierra Music Festival. Okay. It was amazing. Anyway, he played that time, side note, with one of what was considered the world's best bassist. And everyone kept coming around and be like, that man is the world's best bassist. And I was like, how do you even measure that? But everyone's like, no, they did it. They measured it. And that guy is, I think his name's Michael Mandering. He's a badass bassist. It was really impressive.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so Throw Down Your Heart is this documentary that Bella Fleck
I thought that was the whole thing. Okay, go.
No, that's a side note.
Right.
Okay, so Bella Fleck made this documentary because he wanted to understand the history of the banjo. Okay. And so he went and traveled along the Appalachian Trail and went into the heart of America to learn about the history of the banjo. But he was like, you know what, you gotta go further back. And he ended up going to Africa. And he played, it's a documentary of him like playing music with people in Africa and learning about the history of the origins of the sounds that he learned here, playing the banjo. But it has like a deep tribal origin. And so in the end of it, it's like him playing with this guy with this like old school gourd instrument. I mean, like I found the closest mother instrument. Wow. The oldest mother instrument of the banjo.
That's amazing.
Are people howling?
And people are howling.
Oh shit.
It's our cue.
Let's do it. We're just gonna go outside and howl real quick.
Hi, Chazzy. Hi, XM1AX. We're gonna go howl.
Let's take seconds.
We're gonna bring you to howl. Howl at your house, or howl with us.
Oh, Timmy! Oh, it's so good to see you every night.
How are we doing on
Got the neighbor. Got some nice snow on the ground in Colorado.
We're here. Bryce is going live on the page.
It's just a nice call out to the world.
It's a lot quieter with snow.
I love people. There's people out there. They're still there.
It kind of is like a daily reminder that people are there.
Yeah, it's just nice. Hey, we're all still here. Howl.
Twilight Bark.
What was that? People have made a bunch of like spoof.
All right, we're here. Sorry.
Okay. People have made a bunch of ridiculous Facebook groups as a spin-off to Go Outside and Howl at 8.
Uh-huh.
Like, there's one that's Go Outside and Cockle-Doodle-Doo at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, no! This is a terrible idea. Or, what's the one about shitting in the bathtub, Bryce?
Stay inside and shit in your tub at 8 p.m. They're not gaining as much momentum.
You know, if that's what you're into.
But some people have found a home.
Yeah.
But if there's just this group of people who are actually shitting in their tub.
Oh no.
If that's what you're into.
People said they can hear you, Bryce.
Oh.
Oh, good.
Oh man.
Side comments over there.
Sam saying, I'm needing live
Peanut
music.
Gallery. Bryce Figueroa.
Sam also said, it's fear of the abnormal and for me, the unknown future. What was that in reference to?
Thanks, Greta, for the link.
Oh.
Fear of the unnatural and the abnormal is the difference.
Oh.
You know?
In the diversity.
Yeah, when we were talking about, like, there's so much diversity, and with it comes the needing to remember that we're all one.
Yeah.
That's kind of the conversation. Yeah.
It's like a balance. It's funny, though, when I hear we're all one, because I, like, immediately, like, scoff at, like...
You too cool for we're all one?
I'm just like...
Yeah, cool kid over here.
I'm like, woo-woo, we're all one, you know.
Well, I mean, there's not much you can do with we're all one, because there are problems that are real.
Yeah.
So you gotta address that shit.
But it's important to remember. Like,
yeah.
Interconnectedness. And we're all one, you know, probably could be argued by people, but I don't think interconnectedness could.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we're definitely like all in this together, and as a society in the world, like every person that's out there that's unhealthy is out there making choices that are also unhealthy for the people around them.
Yeah.
And every person who's out there doing work on themselves is also like helping the people around them to do work on themselves.
Which is crazy because it's like we can live in totally different realities because of that.
Yeah.
Like, the way we communicate can be completely different.
You know what? I want to sit on this couch with God, watching people at the end of their life, and then like there's like this footage of people, and they're all like, "This is what life was like." And some people will be like, "Life was awful. Life is hard. Life is work." And some people are like, life is beautiful and it's magnificent. Most people will say all of these things.
Yeah. Some people a combination, but I could see some people at either ends.
Yeah.
And why would you want to say like...
Yeah, or like as people speak on humanity too. Like, I wonder if God was watching people just give it their review at the end of a life. What'd you think? How'd would you give it a 5-star? Do it again?
2.5, 3
stars. And yeah, I bet they... You know, a lot of the things that I feel like I come out with, I mean, some people do a lot of work in their lives and they carry a lot of pain.
Yeah. And some people were just like, I don't know, the whole whatever cards you were dealt with kind of thing is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel really lucky. Like, somebody brought up one of our kids on here. And are we back? Okay, we're here. Yeah, to clarify, some of us in this viewing work with kids who have been through trauma. I talk about this most weeks. And, like, some of the stories that they, like, just, like, being neglected from an early age, being raped or assaulted or whatever, like, and to be like, I just so lucky, like, yeah, I have, like, a little bit of trauma in my life, but, like, not to that extent.
But it's good that there's people who have been so lucky that are there showing up every day for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You can't, yeah. I don't know. It's just a weird world.
It's weird and unfair and, yeah.
It's strange.
But I think I don't want to, like, sit here and brag on Danny Mazer, but, like, I think it's really cool that you, like, are still showing up for this.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you are a healthy person going into a space of trauma to try to be a healing presence.
Yeah, I mean...
every day.
Other people listening right now, too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, anybody who works in that field.
There's a lot of people who show up for this.
Yeah.
Let's see. Everybody's howling. Great.
That's so great.
Mahmoud's on. How you doing, man? How's Egypt?
Yeah. How is Egypt? I heard you've been howling in Egypt.
Really?
Yeah. He posted on the Facebook page.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was really excited.
And Sam says, which is why I can't leave, because Sam works there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does kind of tie you in. There's a weird attachment to it.
Yeah.
You're like... It's like the abuse cycle.
Well, it would be hard to leave.
Yeah.
Leave pain. You want to help pain.
Yeah, and you just become...
But you also have to take care of yourself.
I just feel like I've become so connected to it. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm doing it out of goodwill. Like, it's a place I feel comfortable at. I enjoy the work. I enjoy the kids. I'm good at it. I like feel it. Like, I feel good from doing it, you know?
Good.
I don't feel particularly like... I don't wake up and go... I'm gonna save the kids today.
No, you just like live with them.
Yeah, they're like
you live your lives with them.
They're like my. I don't know. I consider them like my friends. They're like my little brothers and little sisters.
Yeah.
And I make fun of them, and I try to make really good jokes, and then they call me. And then they call me Waldo.
So, you love it. You love it.
A kid took me aside today and was like, "Danny, do you like being called Waldo?"
What'd you say?
I was like, it's all about the intention. It's like, it's like if I walk into class and you're like, anyways, I'm not gonna go into technical stuff.
That's nice that you had that talk with him though.
But it was cute. It was
understanding
really
intention.
Yeah. Oh, all right, people. What do you want to learn more about?
Keeping us on track.
Keeping us on track. Send a message in the comments. Oh, we are officially off Instagram. we forgot to pay attention.
Jimmy's up!
Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
hello.
we're just doing some Instagram Live, Facebook Live stuff.
Instagram Live, Facebook Live stuff?
Yeah.
Instagram Live, Facebook Live stuff. My Jimmy's got DiGiorno pizza.
Heck yeah.
It's not delivery.
It's DiGiorno. That is because Soul Stories is brought to you by DiGiorno.
I wish all of you could just like I liked Jimmy coming in. Let's have more people come in. Can all of these people come into our house?
Yeah, we can do
Can we have a house party?
Yeah, we can do that. That seems social distancing. We should make this into like a Mr. Rogers type show.
In what sense?
Hey, Mr. Mailman,
Oh, like different like characters coming in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
Should we interview Bryce right now?
Yeah, let's interview Bryce.
Bryce, you want to be interviewed?
Yeah, sure.
Come on down. Step right up.
Welcome, Bryce, to the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. All right. Now we all have to squeeze real close.
Okay. I did not plan questions.
Who's
got a question for Bryce?
This is Bryce Mayero.
Hi, everyone. Who's watching with us?
No, we've had a solid showing tonight.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's been cool. Bryce, what do you want to learn more about?
That's a heavy-handed question.
Bryce, that was the whole point of the chat.
Well,
What do you want to learn more about? You said jazz.
I said jazz.
You got one.
I want to
that
learn.
was a powerful slap.
Oh.
I was telling Shelsea this earlier. I want to learn more about the psychology of someone like Jeff Bezos. Like, what it's like to exist as someone with that much wealth and success and influence. Because I feel like he's probably... There's, like, some sense of loneliness. I feel like there's things that he's not acknowledging about himself. If he's that, like, insatiable. Or is he just, like, happy and disconnected from this empire? Does he have enough...
You are one of the very few people that are thinking compassionately about the experience of Jeff Bezos.
Well, I do feel compassionate about Jeff Bezos, but because I want to understand so I can be like, bro, this is how... You're
fucking everything up.
You're fucking... Yeah. Being a violent force of capitalism in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, It would be so amazing to know, like, why, when you know these, like, Amazon fires are happening, do you create this, like, bullshit, like, a $90 million donation?
The Bezos Earth Fund.
Right, like, why, like, you are aware of these things that you could help.
And he's made $14 billion in the last month.
Oh, I bet. I mean, this is perfect for him.
$14 billion.
I mean, he's making more money than our salaries, like, rate in this minute.
So for me, that's, like, how I feel is, like, I think I'm interested in the psychology of oppressors, in what needs to be happening so people aren't doing oppressive things.
Do you think it's, like,
that's good.
Have you ever heard of the thing, like, 11% of CEOs are sociopaths or something?
Yeah, I've heard those stats, but it's like... I don't know. What would that person need? Because obviously some CEOs can be incredibly influential and do incredible things for the world. So imagine if you had someone like Jeff Bezos.
No one should have that much power, though.
True. No one should have that much power. But what if his power was being utilized in the name of good?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he would get that powerful if he had that sense?
I mean, he created like a hyper-capitalistic company. Yeah. It's like Walmart without brick and mortar. It's brilliant. Like, in that sense, he created an e-commerce market for the world.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a pretty powerful thing to control. So, I mean, he built his company, it feels like, on the back of, like, post-capitalist identity. So, like... but he could do anything. He could do anything. And he made this huge company, but how does he shift that energy?
Nobody should have that much power that they could do anything.
I agree with that too, completely.
That's what I'm saying. He should give away his power.
But, like, why doesn't he? Why won't he?
Yeah. That's the psychology I'm fascinated in. The psychology of, like, insatiability, I suspect.
Mm-hmm.
It's also crazy because, like, I recognize this and I, like, stand against it. And I think you guys are better than me, but, like, I still use Amazon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm complicit with other things, but Amazon's not one of them.
I just can't... It's hard for me to imagine being, like, if money was food. If I was just going to be like, I'm going to keep all this food. This is my food. I earned it. And imagine sitting on a fucking mountain of food. Just be like, it's my food,
Yeah. Yeah, what is that?
And I'm sure it's much more complicated than that, but he has too much power. Give it away.
Well, it's just interesting because I feel like, especially in our modern world, we have so much.
Yeah.
We have so many resources.
I solved it.
So I don't know why things have to be treated like they're not finite, or like they are finite.
Yeah.
Because we've created a finite system, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Greta says, like, how do more billionaires come to operate more like Bill Gates? Not to say he's perfect, but he's doing better at it than many.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of questions and all that stuff. I mean, like, still with Bill Gates, does anyone need that much money?
Well,
yeah. But, like, it is kind of... I think Bill Gates is doing a lot of work just trying to figure out how to disseminate his money. Like, if you had $1 billion, what would you guys do?
That's a good point, too, is, like, dissemination. Like, I think it's more complicated than them being like, okay, it's gone.
Right.
Yeah. Money, yeah, I don't know.
If I had, I said if I had $1 million?
$1 billion.
$1 billion? Well, I mean, what is the situation with world hunger? Because it seems to me if you have $1 billion, you can solve world hunger. Where are the barriers?
Yeah.
Around that?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing is, like, with $1 billion, like, I would be asked, by having $1 billion, it would be like, I have so much power to make a choice for the world. And I shouldn't have that choice. Like, if I had $1 billion, I would probably be like, I would buy the rainforest.
Well, yeah. But that's fair, and you'd probably create a co-op and do things to
I would be like,
it.
Don't touch!
I think the interesting thing is the people who would do that aren't the ones who are pursuing $1 billion.
Yeah, that's true too. Like, if you're inherently, like if your objective is to make money, then we can't expect you at the end of making all the money for you to give away the money.
Right, like that was your motivation the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, and I know I have some people around me who are kind of living their life from a perspective of like, I'm going to become well off and then I'm going to give back to the world. And I feel like that's kind of a tricky way to go about it because you're going to cycle in and there's so many opportunities to start doing that now. And I don't know, I think you kind of... It's hard to, once you get sucked into that mentality, I think there's always going to be a next objective.
Yeah, well, I think it's the retirement thing. Like,
I think it's really easy to live, to feel very separate from society and be like, but I'm a good person. This is my good person fund. This is me being a good person.
Yeah, good person fund is totally a thing.
Yeah.
I think it's the Avengers.
I don't know.
I think it's the Avengers effect. Everybody thinks they're the heroes on the Avengers.
Exactly. Like, yeah.
And like, I mean, our minds are just so fragile and so easily influenced. We can justify our actions. Like, I mean, we do shitty things, you know? We like have negative qualities that we go, that's just me, or like we have these justifications.
Right.
You know?
Like how, I just can't imagine what it's like to have the amount of pressure associated with that much money too.
Right. It's like, you know, like when I was like really Catholic and now that I'm not, I lived in this world where these...
Classic Catholic statement. Coming from a former Catholic.
The rules were this. This was the rules of the world. The devil existed. God existed. This is how, like... And now that those rules aren't in play for me, I play by a whole different set of rules.
Yeah.
And so, like...
But I think that the problem with that kind of, like, religious bypassing thing is the thing where you're like, cool, so I don't have to do any of my self-work as long as I do X. As long as I pay my tithes, as long as I go to church, or, you know, then you don't have to work on the other parts of your life and the other parts of yourself.
Well, yeah, and I think...
Potentially.
I think that's what I mean by the rules of the world. Like, I think in a capitalistic society, these are the rules. The rules of the world are, you're an individual, you make your money. If you're the one that figures out how to make your money, you deserve that money. And then you don't want to lose it because there's all these other people who are feeding those rules to the game. So all the social pressure existing is keeping the money together.
That's the thing that's most infuriating about, like, Jeff Bezos, is that his power is so dispersed in the hands of every shopper that people can buy something and not feel guilty about it because it's just one thing.
Right.
It's just everything.
It's so imminent. Is imminent the word?
Yeah, Coca-Cola, same thing.
Coca-Cola.
Have you gone told stories Coca-Cola rants before?
We're actually sponsored by Coca-Cola.
I hate Coca-Cola!
We're going to take a break for...
Many people's dead bodies are upon the corporation of Coca-Cola.
Chelsea's worked directly with people who have been horribly abused by Coca-Cola. This isn't like a American platform of not knowing. This is like, you have experience.
I have direct experience with this. Also, look up the Máscaras de la Selva. It's not a lot of people know about it, but a lot of people died.
Is that
Thank you,
Colombian
Coca-Cola.
death squads?
What?
Was that the Colombian death squads?
No, it was a thing in southern Mexico and in Guatemala when they were like murdering Mayan people.
Ocean says, Bryce, what's up with Bjork?
Oh, Bjork? I like
question.
Bjork. I want to announce this while I'm on camera that I actually introduced Shelsea to Bjork.
What?
Before.
Why?
I was like, hey, you ever heard Bjork? And she was like, I'm gonna listen to. I listen to like oh man, I can't even think of the person I'm trying to insult you with. Skater girl.
Avril Lavigne.
Yeah,
Avril Lavigne.
Chelsea was on this Avril Lavigne kick, and I was like, you gotta check out Bjork. She's gonna blow your mind. And now Chelsea's this huge Bjork fan, so on the record.
I feel like I'm getting weirder every day that I know you.
Yeah, because
That's
of
actually
Bjork.
true.
Little background, every week we somehow bring up Bjork. So that's kind of the third and fourth character.
And
the
Bjork
joke.
is in the collage behind your head, but most people can't find it.
If you can find Bjork, we will give you a pine cone.
And we both
Bjork is
Every
omnipresent.
week.
Bjork is life.
pine cones.
Can you do your Bjork impression?
Oh, yeah.
I hate it.
The Venus as a Boy is my favorite. Oh, God. He believes in a beauty. He's Venus as a boy.
That's the worst.
Do the hunter and the hunted one.
Oh, I thought that I could organize freedom. How Scandinavian of me.
Oh my god.
Oh.
The truth is,
Bjork is Scandinavian, or she's not Scandinavian.
yeah, she is.
Oh, yeah. I taught Chelsea that about Bjork.
Chelsea's really into pop punk.
I think
Chelsea loves pop punk.
True, honest, vulnerable moment. I think that before I met Bryce, I took Bjork too seriously, and I was like, "She's deep and profound. People don't get it." They were just joking about the swan outfit. She's more than a swan outfit, people. But then fucking Bryce comes along and it makes my hair all the time, and I'm like, fine. She's also a fucking swan outfit lady.
I like Bjork. I like
Yeah.
Bjork. I think she's cool.
I was taking it too seriously.
You gotta give credit to Bjork because she's so fucking weird and an incredible artist and like is up for a Grammy every year. Like what weird crazy person is nominated for Grammys?
I want to understand how like her relationship with her muse.
Yeah.
That
she is the muse.
The muse has entered her body and just operates from her now.
Yeah, at this point.
And I would
also
do that.
have never really listened to Bjork, so I'm gonna like,
she's
just
a
blow
genius.
that out. Yeah.
Anyway.
I just love the weirdness.
Yeah.
I love anyone who gives us all permission to be like, there's so much space to be weird if you're in the room with Bjork.
Back when I was hosting Punketry, my friend Jonah Fine, like everyone had been reading poetry at Punketry week after week, but Jonah Fine shows up and they're featuring, and they set up a nice tablecloth on the stage, and they sit down with a jar of pickles, and for their 15-minute Punketry set, they just sat on stage and ate the pickles.
That's the only thing.
That was what they did.
And they played punk music behind it?
Yeah, and people were mad. People were like, what? What was that? That was stupid. And it's like, I love her. That's the point of it sometimes. It's like, so many people reacted. Also, it gives you permission to, like, push outside the norm. So, it was really cool.
I want pickles now.
It ups the sales of pickles.
Yeah.
If you guys want to give us pickles, we'll take donations.
Yeah, this week's episode of Soul Stories is sponsored by Vlasic. Vlasic Pickle Company.
I can't believe you pulled a pickle company out.
Pickles, DiGiorno, and Coke.
Greta says, "Oh, I thought you meant introduced her in person to the real
Oh
person."
my god, I wish. I would die.
Greta says, "Disappointed. I think we lost one of our listeners."
Oh, I am so disappointed. now,
Ocean
too.
says-
why haven't you introduced me to Bjork?
You gotta grow up. We all have to become
This is
adults
my dream
someday.
conversation that's happening. Ocean says Iceland. Greta says, "Is Iceland Scandinavian?" I have no
Yes.
idea. And I can look at the camera. What did you guys whisper behind me?
What? I don't even know. But Iceland is part of Scandinavia.
You can review it later. But I don't think we said anything.
We're just with our hands or something.
Sam says, "You guys are neat. I love pickles." Great.
Absurdism in art. Another, just to change the subject, that same...
So Iceland is Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Scandinavia. Okay.
Yep.
Who's the weirdest musician you listen to, Danny?
God, it would have to be Aldous Harding.
Aldous Harding is.
Aldous Harding
really into.
is also from, where did we figure out?
Australian?
No, she's like Iceland.
Where's Aldous Harding from? Does anybody know?
New Zealand. That's right. Aldous Harding is an incredible artist, and her music videos are so strange.
I've not heard of this person.
Oh.
She just popped up on my YouTube recommended feed, and ever since then I'm like obsessed.
Yeah.
The Barrel.
The
The
Barrel.
Barrel, yeah. Zoo eyes and her crazy fucking outfits in these music videos.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Who's the weirdest people y'all listen to?
Well, I want to bring something up. Your friend Jonah, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same person that we saw do the thing on Trans Day of Visibility, right?
Yeah.
That was so cool and intense. We were at this, we were at the Laughing Goat
Repeat really
in
quick.
Boulder, and it was Trans Day of Visibility, and all these people were reading all this poetry, and there's all this music and all this noise, and then they were like, for my piece, I'm just going to hold a time of silence.
Yeah. Jonah's awesome like that. They're really good at reading a space and asking, like, how can I disrupt this space in the name of, like, something bigger.
Yeah.
And
How clever.
Jonah said to me one time that they don't know if they're a poet, and that kind of blew my mind because Jonah's one of the best poets I know, and they live their life so much as a poet.
I like that they just do acts on the stage.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, I don't know. That's how it is with poetry stuff, is I love seeing oration and stuff, but I get so excited when a poet does something outside of the norm. You know?
This is bringing me back to, like, one of the first conversations I ever had with you.
No. Yeah, what was...
I remember I was at one of your things, and I was like, yeah, poetry's cool and all, but, like, couldn't we do poetry with performance art, poetry with music, you know, more mixed media stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was asking about anybody who did that, and
Absolutely.
that's how I met Jessie.
Jesse?
Yeah, I was at your
Lee
event.
Pacheco. Yeah, Jesse's great at that.
Somebody was like, you got to meet this guy, Jesse Lee Pacheco.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Poets do need to do more multimedia stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great at that.
Jesse's really cool. A friend of mine, Hayden, has this great piece where they're talking about the dumb shit people say to them as a non-binary person.
Mm.
And then they used a looping pedal to record those phrases, so they like layer on top of each other into this like brain anxiety.
That sounds amazing.
But it's also so symbolic too, because they have control to like stop the sound or like change it or alter it however they want. So it's really cool. That was one of my favorite poet pieces. You let me on for like 10 minutes and it goes to poetry.
That's all right. You're an incredible poet. Check out Bryce's poetry anywhere you can find poetry, which is pretty much what? Facebook, Instagram?
Just go outside.
DiGiorno's website. I'm the pizza poet of the day.
You do kind of a pizza guy vibe with your
I know.
poets.
I mean, I'm Italian as fuck. What can I say? I also talk with my hands, if you haven't noticed.
Question for you all, and for you all, and for me. What do you want to learn about more? What do you want to learn more about?
I think structuring of English sentences.
Grammar.
How to edit these live things so that we can like make it end up as this like beautiful, perfect conversation that is like flawless.
Yeah, maybe just like take my
insights.
voice and put Alan Watts' voice over everything I'm saying here.
We just sit here and then Alan Watts talks.
And, yeah. Replace all of our faces with Bjork's face.
Beautiful.
These are things you need to learn how to do.
Victoria says, love this conversation, y'all, but I need to bounce. I'm teaching a free creativity session tomorrow at 8 a.m. It's a 25-minute workshop about iterating, expanding, reinventing. And then she left her Facebook.com. Go check out Soul Stories Live. I know that's deceiving if you haven't been here the whole time. It is another Soul Stories Live from Chicago.
Yeah.
And also, if you've enjoyed what you've heard here, Check out the podcast. Find us on iTunes and Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. And what else did we want to promote?
What I just want to say is that, like, what I love about Soul Stories is that it's such a huge community.
Yeah.
And, like, there's so many different people that have brought in ideas that are like, oh, I want to do this workshop where we all break plates. Or
that's true. That was a workshop.
That was a real workshop that we did. Or there was one where we all, like, carried around potatoes. And
trauma potatoes.
Remember that? But, like, all of the things that we do, a lot of the things we do in Soul Stories are not Danny's idea.
No.
Like, the Unpacked thing has been, like, so cool to see that, like, other people take Soul Stories, turn it into what they want it to be, and make something beautiful.
Yeah.
Just in this kind of collective platform that is Soul Stories.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just, like, a community at work just creating for the sake of community. What do you think Soul Stories should learn more about?
I don't know. That's a hard question.
If you guys had something that we should learn more about,
like
as a community, I don't know. I think it's an interesting question. I'm not sure how to answer it.
Well, actually, I think that, like, learning about learning is something that we're trying to learn right now. For example, we had this dinner last year, and we had a bunch of people from the community come together and just give us feedback about Soul Stories. Was that last year? Like 500 years ago?
August
Holy
August
shit.
2019.
Year and a half ago? That's it?
No, less than a year.
Oh my god, I have no sense of time. But it was a really cool dinner, and, like, all these people came in, and a lot of the conversation that came up that night was around activism and change creation.
In just community. What is community?
Yeah, and what is community, and how do we, like, help each other? And there was even a mention of Skillshare.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of explored this idea of, like, how do we, like, have a teach-in? Or how do we have a space where people can come and learn from each other?
You know
It's
what?
decentralized.
I was thinking about, oh, hi, Elena. What I was thinking about, too, just from, like, what I want to teach in Soul Stories is, like, now, hear me out, and feel free to tell me, give me some feedback if this is a good idea. The process of introspection.
Yeah.
Like, just focusing on what it is to introspect and what that process looks like. Is that too simple or too basic? Like, it's something I, like, spend a lot of time doing, as you know, is introspecting.
I mean, I think that is a huge part of what Soul Stories is at the heart of it, and what it has been. And the fruit of introspection, you know, once we've done that work, then we come out and we share what we've gained from it.
Yeah.
And I think that is where Soul Stories, I think, can move into a space of, like, share out and, like, Skillshare. And we hear a lot of that kind of, like, self-work reflection in our events. Like, on our first Sundays and stuff, people will talk about that kind of thing, that they've been working on themselves.
Yeah. What do you mean, though, specifically, for Skillshare?
Like, what if somebody was like, hey, I have learned a lot about how to talk to my racist grandma. And this is what's worked for me, talking to my racist grandma.
And, like, going step by step through that.
Yeah. And, like, this is the wording that works or doesn't work or whatever, and this is how I've been able to not change their mind and sometimes change their mind.
Yeah.
You know?
It would be cool to create a space where people can come and share their knowledge. I also like the idea of people sharing knowledge that isn't, like, considered, like, a capitalistic skill.
Yeah.
Like, you know, writing a book or something you can get money off of, but, like, talking to your racist grandma is, like, you know, it's TED Talky a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
like, I bet everybody who would come to a meeting about that would be totally down for that conversation and have something to contribute.
Yeah.
I think that something we might be able to do is hold a space where one person is kind of there as the expert in a sense, but there's so much cross-learning, you know?
Yeah. I want to break down TED Talks, and this is a good way to do that.
Yeah.
TED Talks annoy me.
TED Talks is, as we call it in the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, I have a really cool boss, and she talks a lot about the sage on the stage.
Yeah.
And there's this idea that like people think if you're going to come to a museum, you're going to like, this person's going to be like a talking head at you. And so we really try to get away from that. We try to make it more of like a conversation, but TED Talks are sage on stage.
And that's the thing that sells. But like, I just love dialogue because it breaks down that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sell though, which is interesting.
Maybe you can.
Maybe. Let's see what people have
I
said.
think people like being part of a conversation.
Sam says, I have to bounce to Daniel counts on my prompt attendance as supervisor. Victoria says, love it. Glad I found you. The howl made me smile deeply for the first time in weeks.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's so good.
Well,
I'm so happy for that.
What do you think about winding down soon?
Yeah, but I do have one comment to say.
Yeah.
About smiling deeply.
Yeah, let's finish out on that.
I feel like I've been, like, in my professional life, I interact with the public. And so, lots of people, like, I'm always, like, people-facing, you know, all day. And so now being at home, like, I don't have to smile for anyone.
Interesting.
And so, like, that the fact that most of my days I'm kind of, like, quiet and not doing any kind of a show, and then, like, when something can bring up a sincere, like, a deep smile, as this person said.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you can get back in touch with, like, your genuine expressions of joy. Because you don't have to put on a face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's really cool. If that's the only thing that comes out for you, that this has been an incredibly productive coronavirus.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing that you don't really like measure in a list of things that you've achieved.
Yeah.
You know?
Smiling deeply. Well, whoever's left with us, I hope you smile deeply more. Join us back.
This has been great. High
It's
five.
been awesome.
Oh, handshake.
Handshake.
Excellent. This is a good one.
We might have a special edition coming at you next week. We're not sure.
Oh, yeah.
This might not come back for a couple weeks. We'll see. You'll see on our Facebook.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you.
Peace
Peace and love. Don't tell